I woke up at like 3 a.m. this morning, and instead of just going back to sleep, I started watching some YouTube videos of this guy who makes terrariums, and he has a video about moss. I'm like, yo, look at all these little moss terrariums in tiny jars. And I watched this for like 4 hours. I'm like, holy shit, I gotta make my own moss. And I'm like, I'm a fucking moss guy. So I got this old pickle jar, threw it in my bag. I'm like, it's time. It's time to go get moss. Except first I got a Scyther in Pokemon Go, you know? It was just down the way. Of course I'm gonna get that. But while I'm battling that gym, or doing the raid or whatever, I'm like, oh, look at all that moss. There's some moss in between the bricks here. But that's shitty moss. It's not good moss. It's not lush enough. So I'm at this park, and I wanted to get some gravel from this diamond, baseball diamond. Feel kind of weird for, I'm just taking this gravel. There's a bunch of little kids going to school. I'm like, whatever. Fuck it. This is my gravel now. So, yeah, I don't need a lot. Then, I was biking over to Bayan, because I've seen some good moss there. But I spied this moss on the side of a Rexall, and I cut a decent chunk out of it, figuring, that's probably a decent amount of moss to take from here. Well, it was kind of gross. There was like human hair in it, and like cigarette butts and shit. And of course I'm still gonna go to Bayan and get that moss that I remember. I was like, oh, look at all that moss. However, that moss looked good where it was. So instead I'm going over into the corner where the bike locks are and collect some of this moss. Got my butter moss knife here. Oof, that's a pretty decent looking moss. It's got a good color to it. And then over on this street, there's these planters with like, I don't know what plant this is. It just like covers this planter though, and it looks really cool. I don't want to take it from the planter because I feel like, someone has planted this purposely and it looks pretty nice where it is. However, I don't feel bad about taking it from the crack in between the sidewalk and the planter. So, I'm just going to take a little bit. Pop it out of there. Hopefully I didn't damage whatever roots there were too much. But it's a neat looking little plant. Scrape off some garbage or whatever that was. Now the third thing that I need is charcoal. And I know at the Dufferin Park or Dufferin Grove there's fire pits. I figured there'd be some like wood charcoal here, which there totally was. I just went through and picked up a couple of pieces. Like, yeah, that'll work, right? Just tiny bits of charcoal. Apparently it can be from a bonfire. And it was actually fairly clean, so that's alright. And of course I noticed this like pit of charcoal, and since I'm right next to the Dufferin, grab a couple things. And I wanted to get nan bread. They're completely out of nan bread. Trash. However, I did buy some vegetable oil, which is something I've been out of for a long time. So yeah, now I'm just biking home and see some more moss. Look at all that moss. Oof. Decent looking moss. Although I think it's the same kind of moss that I already have. And unfortunately I needed one thing that I don't think I could find easily. Window screen from Home Hardware. It was like $3 for a foot. And that's That's way more window screen than I'm gonna need. So maybe I'll make another one. And yeah, now I'm just rinsing off the moss. So if there's any like big weird bugs or whatever, shake off some of the garbage. And get it to a point where it's like fairly clean. I gotta do the same thing with the gravel. Hopefully any like sand or I don't know, whatever will get rinsed out. Bunch of little like floaty pieces of wood or something. I want it to be pure gravel. And then again, kind of do the same thing with the charcoal. Although it seemed pretty like clean as it was. However, when I looked at that big piece of wood, I realized it wasn't completely burnt through. So I had to peel off the completely burnt parts off of that wooden piece. And yeah, once that's done, I've got pretty much everything I need to start putting together this terrarium. So step one is to put in the gravel on the bottom. And this makes like a little bit of space for the water to drain into. And then you put in your window mesh. So I'm just cutting this out. I just eyeballed it a little bit big because you want there to be a bit of space to go up the glass a little bit so the dirt doesn't like fall into the gravel. And yeah, I had to like curl up the sides and then I sewed them a bit so it would be at the back nice and snug. And then from there I can put in my my charcoal, and the charcoal is supposed to help filter the water and make it so it doesn't go like putrid or whatever. I don't know, I'm just doing what the guy in the video did. And I have so much soil from when I bought soil for the cherry seeds and put in a bunch of soil. However, I feel like I should have put in more soil. Like when I was planting the moss and the other plants, like I could see that I was already going into the charcoal stuff. And I sprayed it down, get it nice and wet, and then I put on another layer of dirt as well before I started planting it. So yeah, here's the moss. It's been soaking maybe like half an hour. Apparently everything's supposed to be pretty wet for when you're planting it. So yeah, just bit by bit, I'm using this is like a chocolate fondue fork, and yeah, I'm just using that to put in the plants. Being careful because the roots on those plants are kind of delicate. I'm like, oh man, it looks pretty alright. It's kind of hard to film because, you know, the jar is always going to have the reflection of the lights. But yeah, this is kind of fun. And then here you have the pretty much finished product. You know, it's got room to spread out a little bit. I guess I kind of picked more moss than I probably needed. Yeah, there's the cherries. I just put it next to it because I already have that light there. Yeah, that looks pretty neat. Then I went to sleep for a bit, and I don't know, I didn't sleep very well. And then in the afternoon I sent everybody on Patreon a message, so if you're a Patreon, you should check that. And yeah, also played some video games. Destiny 2. It was a pretty good time. Yeah. Peace out, everybody.